5 to 25 real quick because I think it's important we understand a few things. So first and foremost, when you guys got into real estate, you sat down with a team leader or a coach or somebody and they asked you a question, right? They said, how much money do you want to make? And you probably said $100,000 because that's what everybody says. Everybody said $100,000. Unless it's 2026, now you're saying $200,000 because 100 grand's like barely living apparently. So we all say 100 grand, 200 grand, like we have these numbers and they're arbitrary numbers unless we really understand what's the point. What is this really going to do? The question when I look at these numbers is, first and foremost, is that gross or net? We have to understand the difference, right? Then we actually have to understand what are all of our expenses? What are all of our fees? All the things that are wrapped up into this. Then we have to understand whatever's left over. Let's say it is $200,000. Is it enough? Is it just enough? Is it a little more than enough? Is it way more than enough? Does it really help me accomplish the things I really want to accomplish in my life? A lot of people don't actually know. We just throw the number out there and say, well, I want to make this amount of money because it sounds good. But we don't really understand, am I able to live the best version of my life that I want to live? Am I able to eat where I want to eat, vacation where I want to vacation, drive what I want to drive, live where I want to live? Am I living the life? Am I providing the opportunity to my children that I want to provide with this amount of money? So let's get into some, like, what does this look like? But before we do, what's your job? What is your number one job as a realtor? Like, I know this is basic, but we're going to cover it. What's your number one job? Come on now, it's a lead generator. We all knew that answer, didn't we? What's your number two job? Follow. You just saw this the other day. You let them answer, Dylan. Follow up. What's your third job? Things are getting a little fuzzy. What's that? Oh, thank you, Chris. We go on appointments. What's our fourth job? We write and negotiate contracts. And our fifth job, which, you know, I hesitate to put it at the end because it kind of goes anywhere, but it's script and role play. It's getting better at what we do. And I would even include in that training and growth and reading and all of the things that we need to do to grow as business people and as human beings, right? So this is the job. There's no way around this, right? I can't lead follow-up if I don't first generate a lead. I can't go on appointments if I don't follow up on leads and convert. I can't write and negotiate contracts if I don't generate a lead. This list here, aside from the blue one, it goes back and forth, but it never skips or goes around each other. Make sense? So let's talk about the compound effect, and this is going to be important here in just a second. Compound effect says simple disciplines repeated over time compound into massive results. Simple disciplines compound into massive results. Now, the thing about results is they are what they are, meaning results can be positive or results can be negative. So there's two sides to this. Simple errors in judgment repeated over time, they can also compound into failure and disappointment. So if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, right? If I'm following the plan, if I'm working the plan, I'm doing all the things, I assume I'll see a great result. If I'm choosing to not work the plan, to not generate the leads, follow up on leads, do all the work, I will also get a result, won't I? May not be one I'm happy with, and might not be one that gets me on the board when we run those little slideshows with all the big numbers, but it's going to get me a result whether or not I want it to, and everything is actually a choice. So we're going to do some quick math. And before we get into that, let's have some agreements, right? Are there 5 work days a week? I know we're realtors. I know we work 24/7, but are there 5? Would we like to work 5? We would love to work 5. Are there 50 weeks in a year? No, there's 52, but you can have some time off because I'm a nice boss. Are there 250 days, work days? Yes, there are. Average conversion rate's about 2%. That's industry-wide, just always has been. And then average sale price around here is about $400,000. I know some of y'all are much higher than that, but most of the people land in that $400,000 range. And I would say your average commission rate these days is probably about 2.5%, about $10,000. All that makes sense? Good. So what happens if we make 1 call a day? Do you guys remember this guy, 1 call? Okay, he doesn't do that anymore, does he? I don't see him, or maybe I'm just not watching daytime TV anymore. I'm not sure which one it is. But 1 call, what's that? Ken Nugent, he's still there. But his commercials look different now. Now he's got wrestlers in the ring. It's all weird. So let's assume we make one call a day. We make one contact a day. Can we make one contact a day? Like, is that impossible to do? It's really not. So 5 days a week, we would end up with 50 weeks a year. That's 250 contacts a year. Does that make sense? At a 2% conversion rate, that translates to about 5 transactions per year by having one conversation per day, 5 days a week. This is where the compound effect really comes in, because you can make one contact today and feel like you've accomplished absolutely nothing. And you do it for 5 days and you still might feel like it's absolutely nothing. But you compound that day after day, week after week. And actually, I'm looking at Kelby because he's a good example of this. He joined us a couple months ago, jumped into RedX, starts making calls, comes to me 3 weeks later and goes, dude, I don't know. He's like, I don't know. People aren't talking to me. They're like, it's really hard to get. Maybe I need a triple line dialer. I need more numbers. I need more people. I don't know. And I said, just get in there, keep making calls. And I could hear him in the resource room downstairs, just making calls, making calls, making calls. And then how long was it before you popped in and said, hey, I actually have an appointment? Yeah. And then it was like, hey, I actually have a listing. Oh, wait, I have a buyer and a seller. Oh, now I got another one down in Atlanta. How many are you working right now?
I've got about 5 transactions going off of that right now.
You've been with us how long?
3 months.
3 months? That's amazing. That's amazing. But it's because the compound effect took hold. It's because he showed up every day and he did the work. He put in the work. So if your average commission is $10,000 and you have 5 transactions, that's 50 grand. You're going to pay $18,000. Those are your caps. I assume you're probably in coaching. You have a $4,000 coaching fee. Your expenses about $400 a month. And then you're going to set aside $6,600, which is 30% after we deduct your coaching and your broker fees. And your take home is $16,600, $1,300 a month. Woo! Who's living on that? This would be amazing if it was 1982. You'd be killing it. However, it's 2026, and that's like your dinner budget for a month. That's your food budget for a month. You haven't paid rent, utilities, car, gas, all the other things. You're spending that just at the grocery store. Is this what we signed up for? See, and the reason we start with this is because a lot of times if we go, well, $50,000, remember? Somebody asked you, how much do you want to make? And you said 100. Okay, but did you subtract all this? Or is it 100 net? So let's double it. What if we double it? Can we make 2 calls a day? Can we have 2 contacts a day? Is that possible? I think it is. And if we did that, we end up with 500 contacts a year at a 2% conversion. That's 10 transactions. Now it's looking a little bit better because our GCI jumps up to 100 grand. Congrats, you just hit 100K. I sold 22 homes in 2014 and made $95,000 because price points were what they were. Now we're selling 10 homes and making $100,000. Congratulations. What a wonderful time to be alive. And also, you still have your broker fees. Now you've probably graduated. Now you're paying $500 a month to coaching with Joyce over there, and that's $6 grand a year. Your expenses are $9,600 a year. You're spending $700 or $800 a month on expenses. Your taxes are about $20. Your take home's $46,000, and your net monthly income is $3,800. Okay, that's better, right? If you have another source of income or you have a spouse that's providing some income, is this doable? It's doable. Again, we talk about making 100 grand, but did we back all those things out? We celebrate GCI in this industry, don't we? We put numbers up. We give awards at the end of the year. Your bronze, your silver, your gold, your platinum, your double platinum, triple platinum, you're to the moon, whatever you are. But what are we bringing home? What does this really look like? And is this enough? So the path here is 5 to 25, and that's what we're going to look at. So if we make 5 contacts a day and we end up with 1,250 contacts at the end of the year, at that average 2% conversion rate, we expect that we should hit 25 transactions, right? Now, at a $10,000 commission, that's $250,000 gross. We're going to set aside $18,000 for broker fees, $12,000 for coaching, because now we're coaching and we're traveling. We're going to mega camp. We're going to family reunion. We're doing all the things. We've got $3,000 a month in expenses. We're putting 60 grand away for taxes, and we're going home with $124,000 a year. We're taking home $10,000 net income. Who can live off 10 grand a month? Net income. Net. Not gross. This is your money. You could take it to Vegas. You can save it. You can go buy crazy things on TikTok shop. You can do whatever you want with it. It's your money, right? So That's more doable, isn't it? This is more of what we signed up for as an industry. When we got licensed, we said, hey, we want to live a life that provides some luxuries. We want to live a life that we can actually provide for our families, where we don't have to worry about when we go to a grocery store, is my credit card going to work or not? This is more of the life. This is what I signed up for. I was joking, I signed up for the blessed and highly favored package, right? Like that's what I signed up for, right? So speaking of bold, one of my favorite bold laws is what you focus on expands. And when we go back to this screen here, I think it's really important when we look at that coaching fee and say, hey, training is important, coaching is important, self-growth is important, reading is important, watching the right content on YouTube, on whatever is important, because it grows who we are. And does it stand to reason that if I focus on myself, could I improve my conversion rate? Could I be better at what I do? Would that add up? Would that make sense? I think that it would. So if I'm making the same 5 contacts a day, except I increase my conversion rate from 2% to 3%, look what happens to my units sold. It jumps to 38. And if I do that, all of a sudden my GCI jumps to $380,000. All of a sudden I'm setting aside all my expenses, all my taxes, all my things, and I'm taking home $16,900 a month. Just because I got better at what I did. Because I allowed the compound effect to take hold, right? That's it, plain and simple. I know this is an oversimplification, and I would love for one of y'all to call BS on this for me. Do this for a year, come back and tell me what happened. Prove it wrong. I've never had anyone prove it wrong. Prove it wrong. Make 5 contacts a day, 5 real estate conversations. I don't give a rip where they come from. I don't care. Be it text, right? Sit and text 5 people a day and talk to them about something. Get real estate into conversation. Test the theory, see what happens. I can tell you the compound effect works just because I watch this guy make contacts, I don't know how many a day, and how many you got on the phone, and it was FSBO and expired. But in 3 months, he's already got 4 transactions cooking, and there's more coming. There's more in the pipeline, right? Is this what we signed up for? Is this a little better? Making 16 grand a month? I could live a pretty good life on 16 grand a month, right? I can drive within reason what I want. Might not be a Bentley like that one lady we saw. Okay, she's big money. It's cool. But we'll get there too, right? We had somebody show up at that mastermind. I said, dang, who's driving a $250,000 SUV? And she goes, oh, it's probably her. Dana goes.
Like Call County agent in a group text thing that she's on, her transmission was messed up. And I was like, I was gonna tell you. Yeah, I was like, they're not Bentley SUV.
That's going to be 30 grand to fix too. Have fun with that. So, or more, yeah. I bet you those oil changes are pricey too. Anyhow. All right, so here's the deal. You get 1% better and you give yourself a $79,000 raise. This is why training and coaching is important. This is why I beg people to come in and do things. This is why Zach and Winnie opened up their notes from, there's only a few people here yesterday, and I get it, everybody's busy, but there's a video out there. You should go watch it. Because Zach and Winnie went to an amazing event the other day and said, hey, I'd like to open up my notes and tell people about it. But this is why this is important. This is why family reunion is important. Yes, it's a big cost. Yes, it's an expense. This is why mega camp's important next month. Bold at $649, by the way. This is why bold is important, because it pushes us to get better. And if you're not growing, you're dying. That's right. If you're not moving forward, you may as well be moving backwards, because standing still ain't getting you anywhere, right? Here's the opportunity. You make 5 contacts a day, 5 days a week, $203,000 net income. $203,000 net income divided by 250 days is $812, right? So listen, if I take out $812, right? But if I take out $812, these are all $100 bills. If I take out $812, it's not real, it's got my face. You recognize this guy? If I take out $812, these are Adrian bucks, okay? They're not going to get you far. But if I take this out and I say, here's $812, all you have to do to collect this money, leave this room right now Go talk to 5 people about real estate. Come back and I'll give you your $800. How many people would leave the room and be back in an hour? Of course you would. Dylan would be back 3 times. Dylan would be standing in the Starbucks parking lot with a clipboard like, hi. Right? That's right.
Shuttling people to Fox.
And here's the thing. It's because we like immediate gratification. It's because we're human, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in that whatsoever, because I like immediate gratification. I have zero chill, zero patience. I learned that about myself on vacation recently in a very crowded place where I said, I don't like waiting. I'll be out there in the car, you guys wait. Because I don't like waiting for anything. But in this instance, this is the opportunity. We just don't see it as plainly as these Adrian Bucks because it's not that obvious. Because sitting in a resource room, making calls, and the thing is the resource room like 20 feet away from my door, and even with my door closed, he talks loud, I could hear him. And I heard him on the conversations. I heard all the calls, I heard all the things. These things are happening with or without you. You just have to decide if you're going to step into it. Right? It doesn't have to be cold. We're going to talk about all that. Anybody want some Adrian Bucks? You can take those home. Prank your kids, fold it up, show them the 100. This is the opportunity, though. It's up to us to just show up every single day and do something with it. Right? All right. So here's some food for thought. First question you got to ask yourself, what stops you from making 5 contacts a day? What is it? Is it fear? Is it lack of knowledge, lack of training? Is it your physical location? Are you working from a place that you're distracted constantly? What is it? Do you need help? Schedule a time with me, with Dylan, with Joyce, with somebody. Let's get you some help if you need help with this. What is physically stopping you from making these contacts? Are you willing to be held accountable? Accountability is a 2-way street, right? I first have to give you permission to hold me accountable. Then you have to hold me accountable. If I don't give you permission, can you hold me accountable? You can't. What that becomes is nagging, right? This shows up in marriages all the time because we don't have proper communication and we don't talk about the things that we expect from each other. And then one person's constantly nagging you to do something. They're holding you accountable to take that trash out every week. And you're like, I never agreed to do that. I never agreed that that was my job. So you have to be willing. What if you treated lead generation time like it was $1 million listing appointment on your calendar? I love that there's like 25, 26 people in this room. And if you had $1 million listing appointment at 12:30 p.m. today, would you be here? Heck no. You wouldn't be here. You'd be prepping. You'd be doing whatever. You'd be getting it all shined up, ready to roll. Why aren't we treating the one thing that can actually determine our future financially that way, which is the lead generation process? And I don't care if you're on a team or you're individual. It don't matter. It's all the same wherever you are. And then finally, understand that you're the CEO of your business. And at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself a question. Based on my performance today, would I hire myself or fire myself? That's a very personal thing. I hope it haunts your nightmares tonight. I hope you lay down at night and go, dang it, it's in my head, right? Would I hire myself or would I fire myself? Based on how I did my job today. And here's the thing. You don't work for me. You don't work for Jackie. You don't work for Dylan. You don't work for anybody. You work for yourself. It's your business. Even if you're on a team, it's still your business under the team's umbrella. Y'all get that? You are all independent contractors in this industry. You are the CEO of your business. Nobody's going to wake up and tell you what to do. So we're going to get into some actual business planning here so you can have a roadmap, because half the hands went up that you did have a plan, half the hands didn't. And a lot less hands went up when we asked, how often are we looking at it, right? All right, so here we're going to get into this business plan review, from intention to action. I believe everyone has really good intentions. I do. I believe everybody wakes up every day and they intend to do well. Do y'all believe that? Does anybody wake up today intending to do badly? I don't think so. Not in this company. Maybe down the road at one of those virtual companies, but not here. We intend to do good here. All right, so how do we get there? Well, the 135 business plan. Who uses a 135 business plan? Okay, so the rest of y'all just use you just wrote your own business plan. And that's okay too. I'm going to share this with you because this is the KW model that was shared with me many years ago, and I believe it works. It's simple, it's clean, and I'm going to hopefully simplify it even further for you today because it does sometimes leave a little bit of anxiety in there for some people. So the goal is not to work harder, it's to work on the right things consistently. I don't want anybody to work harder. I don't want anybody to work 24/7. You know, Amir can do that if he wants to. I don't. I don't want to be bothered at 9 o'clock at night. I really have, it's shut off. I'm finished. I don't want to deal with it. I don't even like text messages about work at 9 or 10 o'clock at night because it bothers me. All right, so normally, historically, this is what a 1-3-5 business plan would look like. We give you a blank sheet of paper and say, okay, you've got one main objective, you've got 3 priorities, and then you've got 5 strategies or activities. Now go fill that out. And people just get all kind of crazy ideas, and they do it all weird ways, and then they get stuck, and they don't know what to do, what's a priority. I don't know what to do for activities, and it gets all whatever. We're going to hopefully simplify that here for you. So the 1-3-5 is the framework. You got one goal. This is your one main objective. The one thing that you can point at and go, this is what I want to accomplish at the end of the year. This has to be a simple, easy to recognize thing. It can't be some convoluted theory or whatever. It has to be easily recognizable. You have your 3 priorities. These are the core functions that drive your business forward, drive the goal. No more, no less. And then you have your 5 actions. These are specific daily, weekly behaviors under each priority that you can actually schedule and track. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people get caught up here in this activity thing, and they want to put other things in there like work with more buyers. That's a really nice little goal, but it's not an activity I can schedule. I have to be able to see it on your calendar as an activity. Does that make sense? So we're going to use 25 as the one goal just because we went through the 5 to 25 recently. And we're going to say, hey, if the one goal is 25, every decision should point back to this. When you've got one clear goal, prioritization is simple. It has to be measurable. It has to be ambitious but realistic. If you've never sold more than 5 homes a year, you probably shouldn't put 30 homes on your goal. I'm not saying you can't do it, but I'm saying I like ambition. I also like realistic. Because here's what tends to happen in the human brain. If I put something like, which by the way, right now, we're revisiting our goals to the end of the year. We've only got, July's burnt. We've only got 5 months to the end of the year, right? So now we're taking whatever we did at the beginning of the year is irrelevant. If you said you wanted 20 in January and you've done 2, you probably aren't going to make up 18 in the next 5 months. I don't want to be a naysayer and prove me wrong. That's okay. But let's just be realistic about how we're going to finish this out. Be ambitious, but be realistic. Because what tends to happen is if we set the goal too high, and then we get any number of days, weeks, or months down the road, we said we want to sell 35 homes. We're halfway through the year. Well, whatever. We're 2 months in. August and September have been burned, and now we got the last quarter. And we said we're going to sell 20 more homes before the end of the year. And I've sold 1. The human brain wants to protect your little feelings. And it's going to want to go, don't worry about that. Let's look over here because those are unpleasant thoughts when I look at that list, right? And people tend to give up entirely because they feel defeated, because they feel like that mountain is so big, I'm just never going to be able to climb it. So why even bother trying? So be ambitious, but please be realistic. And then write it down. Write it down somewhere. Put it on Post-it notes. Put that thing everywhere. Put it as your lock screen on your phone. Here's one that's not up here. I forgot to put it up here. Share it. That's going to be your best accountability. Share your goal with somebody that matters in your world. Would you agree, for most of us, I'm sure there's always one in the crowd, but for most of us, what we do financially impacts others in our world? For most of us, that's true, right? How I do financially impacts my wife. It impacts my children. It impacts my parents. It impacts my dog. It impacts everybody. They're depending on me to do things at a certain level, and it's not even a conscious thing for them. Like, my kids don't consciously go, yo, Dad, I need you to sell some houses so I can get them sneakers, you know? They just want to go to Dick's Sporting Goods and buy the sneakers because they're depending on me. They don't know how or why, but they are. Everything you do should support this goal. If it doesn't support the goal, question whether or not it belongs on the calendar. Like, we have to be ruthless with our time. We have to be ruthless with our calendars. If it's not helping me grow and it's not helping me get to my goal, why is it something I'm doing? Don't overcomplicate it. Most agents don't fail because they stop working. They fail because they're working on too many things all at once. We're doing too much. We're trying to do too much. And we're constantly bombarded because we open up social media, and who gets stuck with all these real estate influencers and coaches? And you hear all the things, and well, I did it this way, and you should try that, and I've got a new system, and I've got a new program, and it's so easy to get pulled off of what we were doing because we're changing strategies, we're chasing shiny objects, new platforms, and then we lose momentum if we ever had any. And momentum is an interesting thing because it actually goes both ways, kind of like the compound effect. You can have really good momentum, and it's like things are just coming to you, man. You're just, like my kid said the other day, my 11-year-old, I'm in flow state. I'm like, what? Man, shut up, you're 11. I'm like, you're 11, shut up. But you know, he watches too much YouTube. But you can also be whatever the negative part of flow state is. Like, you can be blocked up, I guess. Because you could be anti-flow state. And that also has momentum. That's like when you hear people go, man, when it rains, it pours. And you talk to them, and it's just like they just got a cloud over them. And they're like, everything I do is just bad. Brother, you got to get out of that. I get some things are out of your control, but it's up here. You got a mental blockage that's keeping you in that world, and you just got to gain momentum. Oh gosh, I forgot his name. The guy that wrote the book, Know What You're For. Anybody read that book? Oh, I forgot his name. Really like the guy too. He wrote a second book, What to Do Next. Do you know what I'm talking about? All right, I'm going to send you guys this book. It's a really good book. Easy to read too, because I don't like to read. This one's easy. Jeff Henderson. That's it, Jeff Henderson. Know What You're For. And he wrote a second book called What to Do Next, or Know What to Do Next, or something like that. And in that book, he talks about when you're leaving a career or starting a new business or whatever. And the one thing that really stuck out to me at the beginning, he said, people always talk about small wins and big wins. He said, there's no such thing as small wins. There are quick wins. And he said, if you're trying to build momentum, you need quick wins. And sometimes those quick wins might not feel like a whole lot in the moment, but it's like showing up to the gym. I'm working on it, man. I hired a health coach. And this guy said to me 2 weeks ago, I was talking to him, and he goes, you've been going to the gym? And I'm like, nah, not really. I said, no, man, listen, my kids are awake at night. I had all the excuses. It's hard, it's summer. And he goes, here's what I want you to do. Drive to the gym, sit in the parking lot for 5 minutes, and then go home. He goes, maybe a couple days later, go walk around, touch all the machines, then go home. Quick wins. Get your butt out of bed, get your shoes on, get your butt inside the gym. He said, it won't be long before you feel silly walking around touching machines, before you're like, I might as well sit down and lift something, right? And then he said, just quick wins. You got to look for those opportunities in your business. What's a quick win in your world today? That if it's not happening, you're not where you want it to be, you're halfway through the year, what's a quick win that today is going to make some kind of difference? Do y'all ever have that day where you do make some calls, you have done, and how do you feel at 5 o'clock? You feel good. You're driving home whistling, windows are down, Ludacris pumped up on the, you're just like, I'm getting it, Yes, Ludacris. I'm from the early 2000s, right? I don't know what they're rapping about today, but Ludacris was good. So,
saw it last week.
see, he's our age. Ludacris is our age now. I love it. But he's playing with the kids at the park. Anyhow, quick wins. Because at the end of the day, when I do all these little things, I feel good about myself. I feel great. And on those days when I have avoided the thing I know I'm supposed to be doing, how do I feel driving home? A little sheepish, right? Might be some country music on, right? Walking in the door, thank God I'm home, right? What's for dinner? Not feeling 100%. Not in my flow state, like my 11-year-old said, right? Not feeling it. And people sense that energy. Your family senses that energy. Your friends, your dog senses that energy for sure. I know, they're crazy little creatures. So here's the simple framework. Number one, generate. We have to generate. Consistently bring new opportunities into our pipeline. Like we have to generate. So by the way, we're looking at the framework for our priorities because there's one main objective. That's the goal. We want to sell 25 homes. We want to make $250,000. We want to do whatever that goal is. But now we're going into our priorities. And typically these are blank and nobody tells you what to write. So I'm going to tell you what to write. Follow this framework until it doesn't work for you anymore. And then you can change it after that. Number 2 priority is convert. So we need to generate first, then we need to convert after that. Number 3 is deliver. So we generate the business, we convert the business, then we deliver a world-class experience. Is there anything I'm missing for running a successful business here? Anything at all? We generate, we convert, we give great service. There are your priorities. There they are. That's it. 3 priorities. Priority number 1, generate. Nothing happens until someone enters your pipeline. Generation is the engine of the business. If this thing's not cranked up every day, your business is going to stall out. It's just a matter of time. I don't care what business you're in. If you're not generating new business, you're going to stall. Eventually, you're going to die. Here's some examples. And I'm going to give you these. I actually printed these up. If you could pass these around and y'all can kind of follow along. I know some of y'all will skip ahead. That's okay. These are some examples. If I was writing my business plan, I would say one of my 5 action items is 5 conversations a day. We just talked about that. 1 lead gen strategy. Now this is a whole situation here. It's in bold. I'm going to come back to it in just a second. 10 new contacts monthly added to my database, which again might not feel like a lot in month number 1, but come talk to me in month number 12 when you've added 120 people to your database, right? Action item number 4, 1 referral ask per week. Physically ask for a referral. Do you know anyone that needs my help? Text, email, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, I don't care what it is. Physically, your vendors.
I really feel like,
Yeah, ask for a referral from somebody. And then number 5, a Friday lead review. Sit down every single Friday, review your numbers, review your conversations, review your pipeline, all of the things. Again, these are examples. This is not the end all be all, but these are things that you can follow. Let's talk about the 1 lead gen strategy. Man, I'm running short on time. We're going to go 5 to 10 minutes over, and I apologize. Feel free to leave if you have to. I understand y'all are busy. We're spread too thin. We're trying to do too much. We talked about that. The people that I see time and time again that are hyper successful in our industry have chosen 1 lane, put that hammer down, and they're driving 100 miles an hour in that lane. We brought Sarah Maslowski in here several months ago. Girl put the hammer down on YouTube, makes $1 million a year. Rod and Gigi are not in the room today, but we know Rod and Gigi put the hammer down on social media. They're going 100 miles an hour. They're going to sell 100 transactions this year. 150, whatever their goal is, I don't remember, right? We see the Lux team going all in on luxury. They're putting the hammer down. They're going in on luxury, driving 100 miles an hour, putting up $22 million in contracts. Y'all see what's happening? You pick your lane, you master that lane first, and then you go pick other things. The trouble is we dabble. Early on in my career, I listened to Tom Ferry, and Tom Ferry talked about being a dabbler. And he said the problem with most agents is we dabble. We do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Then we come back around to a little bit of this and a little bit more of that. And we dabble, dabble, dabble until we run out of money, we run out of time, or both, and then we're out of the industry. And then Jackie's getting an email saying, I need to go to the holding company. I can't keep racking up these bills. Okay. Did you ever commit to something? Or you just been dabbling in 20 different things, wondering why nothing's going your way? Priority number 2, convert. This is turning opportunities into clients. Here's the crazy part. Why on earth would we spend all that time and effort to generate the lead and then not work on converting it? The follow-up, right? So, it's crazy. So here, number 1, respond in 24 hours. That's a pretty easy action item. When you get a lead, when somebody gives you a referral, respond quickly. Number 2, weekly pipeline review. Sit down and look at the pipeline. What is going on? Who needs to be contacted? Who needs to be followed up with? Who's ready to go now? Number 3, consistent buyer consultation. I'm not going to ask because I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but I know that a lot of us don't do actual buyer consultations. We just don't. We're just excited somebody wants to see a house, and we're jumping in the car. We're ready to roll. Last week, I witnessed something. Jonathan Cortez, I wish he was here today, but he's not. He met a couple people at like 5:30 who sat down with him in that room, in the front conference room, probably for 2 or 3 hours. And I could hear him when I walked by. I didn't understand what he was saying. It was in Spanish. But I could hear him, and he had his presentation, his material out, and it was a buyer consult. That boy's already surpassed what he did last year in the first half of this year. And last year was Rookie of the Year for the whole Southeast region. And I'm like, and here's what clicked with me when I saw that. I'm like, this dude's crazy busy. But he found 2 to 3 hours to sit down with a first-time buyer and explain the whole process to him. He's not going to lose that buyer to a Zillow lead. It's not going to happen. They might accidentally click on contact agent, but when you call them with your Zillow lead, they're good. They're already taken care of, I promise you, because he sat down there and did what he did with them. Which, by the way, here's an interesting stat. I don't know if it's real or not, but I saw it in a real estate group that 125 internet leads were sold last year for 4 million transactions that actually happened. Do the math on that. So, anyway, moving on. Consistent seller consultation. Your listing presentation, you should be able to rattle that off. You should have your system in place, your materials. How do you do it? At that luxury mastermind, we heard from several agents. They have their systems. They have their materials. They understand everything they're going to do, how they're going to do it. It's polished. It's ready. It's good to go. Number 5, ask for the appointment. Don't wait for the prospect to bring it up. If you're in a conversation with somebody talking about something real estate related, don't be afraid to say, hey, when can we get together? What's a good day and time? Maybe it's a buyer consult that lasts 2 to 3 hours, and maybe they don't buy a house for 9 months, 10 months, 12 months. But you'll enjoy that sale 12 months from now, won't you? I know I would, right? It's just building a pipeline. Priority number 3, deliver. This is where we delivered the client experience. So weekly client communication. This was another thing that was brought up at that luxury mastermind last week. We're in a market where we're not putting homes on the market and getting flooded with showings right away and consistently for several weeks, are we? Some of these homes are sitting 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks with no showings. If you're not communicating with your seller in those gaps between showings, even if it's a week or 2, I promise you, you are breeding anxiety into that seller, and they are sitting there asking themselves, what are you even doing for me? My agent's not working for me. I've had no showings. I don't have any clue what's going on. And I know that's not true. I know that you're doing things. But if we're not communicating with them, perception is reality. World-class closing experience, closing gifts, handwritten notes, a genuine celebration. What does your closing experience look like? I was listening to Jason Abrams' podcast driving home from Florida yesterday, and the girl that he was interviewing sells over 100 homes a year, and she says she goes to every single closing. And Jason Abrams said there's a movement in our industry where people are saying it's irrelevant, you should not go to closing. And she goes, I wholeheartedly disagree. She said catastrophe can happen from the time you wake up to the time that closing happens that day. And if I'm not a part of it, I can't contain it and I can't fix it. And she said, I'm going to be there for my people. And Jason Abrams said, I was told early on in my career, you go to every closing. I don't care how busy you are. Those people trusted you. They need you right at the end. Ask for a review. This is a huge part of our business. Asking for a review at the closing table is probably a really great time to do it because they're happy, they're excited. Post-closing follow-up. Are you checking in 30, 90, 365 days later? What does that post-closing follow-up look like? Or are you just wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, appreciate the money, I'm on to the next? Because that's not a great way to get referrals down the road. And then client appreciation events. We should be doing these. We'll talk more about this next week in our meeting, but we're working on some things for the Market Center, some opportunity for people to crowdsource these events because I know that they're difficult to put together, they're expensive, and they're just very labor intensive. So we will be putting together a couple opportunities for you guys before the end of the year to do that. So here's the formula. You got one goal, you generate business, you convert business, you deliver, you rinse and repeat. That's it. It's as simple as it gets right there. This is our entire business. This is the loop that top producing agents run constantly, year after year. Regardless of the market condition, this is what we do. We generate, we convert, we deliver, we repeat. Any questions on that? Like, it's pretty simple, right? So here's a test. Before you put anything on your calendar, does this activity help me generate, convert, or deliver? If it's a training session, is it going to help you with one of these three? It needs to run through that filter, right? It needs to. If somebody wants to hang out and do something during work hours, is it going to do this? I'm not saying, you can still hang out with your friends. It's okay, Patricia. I'm saying, she's like, what? You can't hang out with people?
My mind went somewhere else.
You can't hang out. Oh, fair enough. She gave me a look like, I can't hang out if they don't want to do business? No, not anymore. Those days are over. I'm just kidding. So, for Generate, we asked the question, does this bring new opportunities into my pipeline? Is this event going to help me bring new opportunities? Is this thing going to help me turn a prospect into a client? Is this going to help me create a better experience for my current clients? If the answer is none of the above, you need to really ask yourself why you're about to go do what you're about to do. That goes for all the little things that we do on a daily basis too. Not just training, not just meetings. All the little things. Here, Kelby, would you pass these out too, man? So we've got some blanks here. I'd love for y'all to fill these out. We don't have time to do it here. That's okay. Take it home, sit with it, think about it, decide what do you want your goal to be before the end of this year, and fill this form out, but be honest with yourself. Don't put aspirational things on there that you think you might want to do. Put things on here you actually will do. That's going to be your best bet for actually accomplishing your goal before the end of this year. Here's my final thought. You don't need more ideas. You need more focus. We don't need any more ideas. We're chock full of ideas. We're good. Right? In the words of Kindergarten Cop, you lack discipline. You lack discipline. Stop whining. Okay, sorry. Didn't need to throw in that last part. But here's the deal. What's that? I've been practicing since I was a kid. So we don't need more ideas. We don't need more things that we think we might want to do. We're full, man. We know. What we need is to focus in and do the things. Coaching is a big part of this. I know. Look, I don't get no money from these coaches. They're not paying me. Dylan, you paying me? No, Dylan, he won't even give me an Adrian buck. Like nothing. I get nothing from this. But I think it's critical. It's important. I think bold is critical. Here's the deal. You need to look at your world and understand that if you are not where you want it to be right now, we have an opportunity coming up in September that can help get you there. Bold does not pay me. There are market centers who choose not to do bold. Do you know why? It is incredibly difficult to launch. It is incredibly time intensive. Dylan's PTSD over there. Like I'm telling you, it is not the easiest thing to pull off. But we believe it's worth it at such a deep level and can be so life-changing. Generate, convert, deliver. Generate, convert, deliver. I want this mantra to run through your head every single day. Finish the year strong. That's all I got. Appreciate you guys hanging out 10 minutes late. Appreciate you so much. We're going to bring down our